The Golden State Warriors find themselves at the center of what could be the most intricate and game-changing trade in NBA history, and it's not about championships this time. It's about sheer complexity. We're talking about a 7-team mega trade, an unprecedented move that could rewire the landscape of the league. Not too long ago, a 6-team swap made headlines, but this deal has the potential to surpass even that. The crown jewel at the heart of it all, none other than Kevin Durant, who might end up in Houston and tilt the balance of power even further. Right now, the rumor mill is churning hard. According to reports, teams like the Hawks, Suns, Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, Nets, and Timberwolves are all circling a potential deal. That's 5 from the Western Conference and 2 from the East, and each franchise is mixing and matching assets to make it work. It starts with the Rockets and the Suns. The core of the negotiation involves expanding the Kevin Durant trade. Durant to Houston is already part of the larger rumor. The Hawks enter the picture by sending Clint Capela to the Rockets, which would likely be structured as a signing trade to ease cap complications. In return, Houston picks up Capela, reinforcing their front court alongside the incoming star. Meanwhile, Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green are expected to shift in opposite directions. Green heading to Phoenix, Brooks heading out to Houston. But that's not all. This 7-team deal would essentially consolidate numerous signing trades that were already agreed upon during draft night. The Lakers, Wolves, Nets, Suns, and Warriors all have side deals to finalize, but they cannot officially close until July 6th, which is when the moratorium lifts. As of today, July 3rd, those deals are still in limbo. Diving deeper, the Lakers are reportedly sending a package including Theo Maledon and a 2025 second-round pick, while Minnesota is sending cash considerations and their own 2027 second-rounder. The Nets are shipping off to future second-round picks to the Suns. In exchange, the Warriors would receive a 2025 second-round pick, possibly for someone like Alex Tui, who's already training with the team ahead of Summer League and getting the green light from Mike Dunleavy Jr. Thus far, Warriors fans are watching this play out carefully. Golden State would pick up Tui and the draft asset, give up their own second-round pick, and generally part ways with the more obscure pieces involved. And this mega deal, it's complex and sprawling, but at its core, it's a shuffling of draft capital, cap space, and role player contracts, all to create room for the headline players. Meanwhile, another trade tree looms for Golden State, the so-called JK trade, involving Jonathan Kuminga potentially heading to Sacramento, Malik Monk going to Detroit, and Dennis Schroeder landing somewhere else. That's a separate idea entirely from this 7-team deal, which is all about Kevin Durant and the cascade of draft and cash assets. As of this moment, there's still no official word on restricted free agency signings like Al Horford or others. The Lakers, for instance, may still be circling Horford even with Adri Ayton already on board. As for Golden State, the roster remains static while their front office shuffles picks and pocketbooks in preparation for both this 7-team deal and the other rumored transactions. From a salary cap perspective, Golden State is walking a tightrope there, dangerously close to the hard cap. If Kuminga signs a sizable contract, say in the 15 to 20 million range, a chunk of roughly 20 million would remain to pursue other free agents, opting for the qualifying offer. However, around 7.8 million for Kuminga could leave them with as much as 28 million to chase other pieces. That flexibility is limited, though. The pool of viable free agents is not deep. Centers like Thomas Bryant, Jackson Hayes, Al Horford, and Adri Jordan are floating out there, but none offer a commanding presence in the paint. Guys like Alex Gobert and Brook Lopez have their roles, but few provide that physical inside edge. On the wings, Malik Beasley is off the table due to off-court scrutiny. Guys like Quinton Grimes or Josh Giddey might command to much. Others like Sviatoslav Mikhailiuk are questionable fits. Juice Jones could be a nice backup, but he's not a game-changer. Mohamed Guy is still on the rise. None scream turn this team into contenders, so yes, the draft picks and minor pieces look valid. But unless a major veteran center becomes available, Golden State may just stay in wait-and-see mode. The second-round pick is confirmed. Alex Tui is already on the roster for Summer League. And now it's about what happens next. Kuminga's deal, Horford's potential deferral, and whether Golden State pulls the trigger on any outside help. Make no mistake, this 7-team shuffling is massive in scale. Even if the banner names besides Kevin Durant aren't as thrilling, it's about maximizing flexibility, balancing contracts, and positioning teams for bigger moves down the line. And for the Warriors, it's a balancing act between staying below the apron, maintaining cap space, and hedging bets on developmental prospects like Kuminga. So here we are, Warriors fans, we've got one confirmed asset, the 225th Pick now in Golden State's control and one emerging rookie Alex Tui already in camp. Everything else hinges on these trades' final terms, Kuminga's future, and what happens with other big names like Horford. No seismic free agent additions. For now, just a chessboard of assets waiting to drop into place, while Warriors fans keep refreshing their phones anxiously waiting for a bombshell signing or a blockbuster trade to shake up the roster. The front office appears to be moving with surgical patience. And honestly, that's not a bad thing, right? Now Golden State is threading a needle between avoiding that dreaded second tax apron and still trying to maintain some level of competitiveness in a Western Conference that's only getting more brutal. The challenge: you've got a core that's aging, limited flexibility with the cap, and a bench that desperately needs reinforcement, especially at the 5. Let's be real. The Warriors are still dealing with the fallout of last season's missteps. The Chris Paul experiment fizzled. Klay Thompson, a franchise icon, is now heading to Dallas of all places. And while that breakup was maybe inevitable, it stings nonetheless. Klay represented an era of philosophy, a brotherhood built on shooting and movement, defense and swagger. With him gone, a chapter closes, and now Golden State must figure out what this next phase even looks like. One of the biggest lingering questions is Jonathan Kuminga. The young forward showed flashes of brilliance throughout last season. He's explosive, athletic, and can defend multiple positions. He's the kind of talent you don't just throw away in a salary dump. But at the same time, he's also not a lock to become a franchise cornerstone. And if Golden State can get a proven piece in return, someone who fits their timeline and plays a position of need, they might pull the trigger. Sacramento has been repeatedly mentioned as a potential destination. The Kings want a wing with upside. Monk could be on the move too, and Dennis Schroeder entering the conversation complicates things even more. That 3-team structure might be something Golden State is waiting on to make their final decision regarding Kuminga. There's also this looming cloud around Al Horford. He's not just a name being tossed around in rumors, he's exactly the kind of presence Golden State could use. Smart, experience, solid on both ends, and most importantly capable of anchoring a defense without needing to touch the ball every possession. But his situation is in flux. Boston hasn't made it clear what direction they're taking with him. And while the Lakers are reportedly sniffing around as well, Golden State might swoop in if the price is right. Meanwhile, the free agent market is drying up fast. The names still floating around aren't exactly difference makers. Sure, someone like Mo Wagner could slot in nicely as a Hayek big who can shoot and pass in the Warriors' motion-heavy system, but he's far from a rim protector. Ball keeps getting mentioned in fan threads. He's long, he's quirky, and yeah, he can block shots. But he's not going to anchor your defense, and you definitely don't want to rely on him for consistent minutes in a playoff series. At guard, the options are equally thin. D'Angelo Russell is still out there, and while Warriors fans know what he brings: shot creation, scoring, and a bit of flash, they also remember his weaknesses on defense and the limitations he brings to the ball movement scheme. Someone like Tyus Jones would be a dream backup, but he's not leaving a starting opportunity elsewhere to be second fiddle. Josh Giddey is still unsigned, but with his size and playmaking, he's more likely to look for a bigger role and a long-term commitment. And given the Warriors' cap restrictions, they'd have to get very creative to even get in the room with someone like him. There's also a philosophical shift at play here. Golden State is no longer operating from a position of strength. In the dynasty days, they could afford to sit back, knowing that Steph, Klay, and Draymond would cover up just about any roster flaw. But now every move matters, every contract counts, and every young player needs to hit. That's why they're clinging so tightly to someone like Brandon Podziemski, who showed a lot of poise and promise as a rookie. He might be small, but he's smart, confident, and already seems to understand how to play Warriors basketball. Same goes for Trayce Jackson-Davis. If he can give them reliable minutes in the paint even as a backup, that's a huge win. The front office knows the clock is ticking. Steph Curry isn't getting any younger. He's still elite, arguably the greatest shooter we've ever seen and a top 10 player in the league. But you can't keep wasting his prime. Every offseason that passes without significant improvement feels like another missed opportunity. Yet the Warriors are walking this tightrope, carefully trying not to mortgage the future for one last run, but also not ready to fold and start over. That's what makes this 7-team trade so intriguing. On paper, it looks like a puzzle made for accountants: draft picks and second-rounders flying in every direction, cap hold, signing, trade, salary matching exercises, but beneath the surface, it's a potential lifeline. A way for Golden State to sneak under the apron, pick up useful assets, and keep the door open for a bigger move later this summer. And make no mistake, they're still hunting, maybe not for a superstar but for someone who can shift the balance just enough, another Otto Porter Jr. type. A solid vet who fits the system and doesn't break the bank. Maybe that player isn't available right now, but in a month at the deadline, that's when the patience could pay off. In the meantime, Warriors fans are left in limbo. You've got a half-built roster, a franchise legend gone, a rising star in contract limbo, and a trade structure so complex it looks like it was designed by NASA. But you also have Steph, you have Draymond, you have young guys with upside, and a front office that has proven time and time again that it knows how to thread the needle when it counts. This isn't panic mode, not yet. But it's definitely a moment of reckoning. The Warriors aren't just reloading anymore, they're reinventing. The dynasty as we knew it is over, but the story isn't. Not while number 30 is still lacing them up, not while there's still time on the clock. And while all eyes are on what moves the front office might make next, there's another element at play that can't be overlooked. The development of the young core. The truth is, if the Warriors are going to find any kind of success in the post-Clay era, it won't be just because they make one big trade or nail a mid-level signing. It's going to come down to whether or not these young players can grow into reliable high-level contributors. That's where the spotlight falls on guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Trayce Jackson-Davis, and Brandon Podziemski. They don't just represent the future, they represent the bridge between eras. Kuminga especially holds the key to a lot of decisions. His athleticism is elite. He's shown an ability to guard one through, for he's explosive in transition, and he's gradually developing into a more patient defensive player. But he's also inconsistent, and there have been rumblings that his camp isn't thrilled with how he's been used in Golden State's system. That's understandable. It's a tough system for young players to thrive in. There's not a lot of isolation. You've got to move without the ball, read the floor, and make quick decisions. That's not easy for any player, let alone one in his early 20s. Still, the Warriors aren't ready to just give up on him. They know what he could become. But the clock is ticking, and if he's looking for a big payday, that forces the organization into a decision they might not be ready to make. Moody is in a similar boat. He's got the threat and skill set that fits perfectly in today's NBA. And when he's been given minutes, he's usually made the most of them. He doesn't complain, doesn't force the issue, and defends at a high level. But again, the rotation has been tight, and he's never been given a consistent run. That might change now, especially with Clay gone. There's a clear opportunity for Moody to step into a bigger role, and if he can knock down shots and defend without fouling, he could cement his place in the Warriors' long-term plans. Then there's Brandon Podziemski, a rookie who turned heads with his poise and maturity. He's not the most athletic guy on the court, but he sees the game at a high level. He moves the ball, cuts hard, and competes defensively. He's already earned the trust of the coaching staff, and that says a lot. You can see why the Warriors value him so highly. He might never be a star, but he fits the mold of players who thrive in Golden State's system: smart, unselfish, and tough. Trayce Jackson-Davis, meanwhile, fills a more pressing need. He's a big body who can rebound, block shots, and finish around the rim. In limited minutes last season, he looked solid, maybe even better than expected. The Warriors don't need him to be a double-double machine, but they do need him to protect the paint and hold his own against bigger, more physical front courts. If he can do that, he might carve out a real role, especially given the lack of depth at center right now. The front office is clearly banking on these guys to take a leap. They have to. There's no cap room to bring in big names. The trade market is limited, so unless a surprise deal materializes, the Warriors will be relying on internal growth. That means more minutes for the young core, more responsibility, and more chances to prove they belong. But development isn't just about playing time, it's also about structure. Golden State's coaching staff will have to strike a delicate balance. They need to let the young guys play through mistakes without sacrificing competitiveness. They need to integrate them into a system that's historically been built around veterans who know every read, every counter. That's not an easy transition, but it's necessary if this team wants to stay relevant. Meanwhile, Steph Curry remains the constant. He's still putting up elite numbers, still creating space like no one else in the league, and still the engine behind everything the Warriors do. But he can't carry the load forever. That's why these moves, whether trade signings or just giving more minutes to the youth, are so important. They're not just about this season. They're about keeping the window open for as long as Steph is playing at a high level. So while fans may be waiting for that next Woy bomb or Shams tweet, the reality is that the future of the Warriors is already in the building. It's in how Kuminga develops. It's in whether Moody can take the leap. It's in whether Podziemski can be the next Hyatt glue guy. It's in whether Jackson Davis can hold his own in the paint. And it's in whether the front office can thread the needle balancing cap constraints, development timelines, and the urgency of maximizing the final years of Steph's prime. This offseason might feel quiet. It might not bring the fireworks some fans were hoping for, but beneath the surface a lot is happening. The team is evolving, recalibrating, and preparing for what comes next. Whether that's another deep playoff run or the beginning of a new era remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the Warriors are not standing still. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going in what could become one of the most talked about moves in recent NBA history. Whispers are growing louder behind the scenes about a potential blockbuster involving none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Golden State Warriors. Dubbed Operation Acropolis by insiders, this developing situation has fans and analysts on high alert as speculation intensifies over a possible imminent agreement. Sources close to both camps suggest that talks, while still unofficial, have gained significant traction in recent weeks. There's no confirmation from either the Milwaukee Bucks or the Golden State Warriors, but insiders believe that Giannis may be seriously considering donning the blue and gold jersey next season. The Greek Freak's relationship with Milwaukee remains strong, but reports indicate he's increasingly intrigued by the idea of joining forces with Steph Curry and chasing another championship in the Bay Area. The Warriors, for their part, are rumored to be exploring all options to make room for the two-time MVP, including potential trades and cap space adjustments. Though no concrete details have surfaced, multiple league executives have hinted at a massive shift looming on the horizon, involving a high-caliber superstar. Many now believe that superstar could be Giannis. While all of this remains in the realm of speculation for now, the very idea of Giannis pairing with Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green is enough to send shockwaves throughout the league. Could this be the next super team in the making? Could Operation Acropolis become a reality? One thing's for sure, where there's smoke, there's often fire. And in the case of Giannis and the Warriors, the flames of possibility are burning brighter than ever. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.